Welcome along to Steve Wraith's True Crime Podcast. As you know, every now and then we don't go down the full true crime route. We'll get people on who've got an interesting life story. And today, I'm pleased to say that I'm welcoming somebody who I've known for many years now, Dominic Negus. How are you, mate?
Oh, Steve, I'm just so grateful to be on your show, mate. We've been like passing ships for a few years now. My fault, mostly. I mean, it's just like yourself. I've just got a hectic lifestyle, not lifestyle, but just work. I work. Man, I've got a job and everything, mate. It's mad.
It's brilliant, mate. It's brilliant. I've got to thank Jamie Boyle for putting us together again, because obviously, Jamie's done tremendously well with you remember when he did your first book? I read it back. I read it from the front to the back in 2 days, and having
what you're saying, there weren't a lot of words in it. You're saying, is that what you're saying?
Well, it had us on the edge of my seat, mate. And obviously, because I know you, because I'm a big boxing fan. I love reading books about boxing and people who fought, and anyone who gets into the ropes, whether it's professional or unlicensed amateur, it takes balls to do it. And we'll come to that. But look, for the viewers who don't know who you are, tell us a little bit, where were you brought up, Dom?
Listen, I was lucky enough. I was born in Bethnal Green, brought up in Woodford, little place in Essex. Mum, dad got a brother. Just led a good life, you know what I mean? We were brought up well. Dad was on the print, Dad was on the Times all his life. Mum, Italian. I mean, they're both gone now. Dad's buried in Rayleigh. Mum's, believe it or not, I'm Italian, or half Italian. My brother's a celebrity looking one, he's got hair and everything. I take after my mum. She was bald as well. Little joke there, Steve, little joke there. I'm only joking, Mum, looking down at me. When I started doing door work at 18, 19, got really involved with the boxing there, I was working on a firm there, and they were saying to me, like back in the day, it was a little bit more, it could be a little bit more hands-on, do you know what I'm saying? I'm about 89. And then they were going, Dom, like, there's a good pal of mine, we're still pals today, a fella called Terry O'Neill, and another guy there called Matty Cooper, and another fella called Johnny Camp, Johnny Farstands, and all through my life, Johnny's been involved. But they said, Dom, you need to get down to the gym. Get down to the gym, mate. You're wasted. And I started boxing when I was 20. Won the North East Divs. I think it was 95. No, 95, 96. Or was it 94, 95? Got me England vest. Got me London vest. Turned pro. And obviously I won 2 Sun area titles.
Well, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that first fight, because you're a Bethnal Green boy, and I think you made your pro debut in the York Hall in Bethnal Green against Gareth Thomas.
Gareth Thomas, bloody hell, yeah. Well, I think it was at Portsmouth or Plymouth, and it's only recently, last year. So I kept in contact with all my opponents, really. You know what I mean? It's like it's that kind of sport. You have self-respect, respect for everyone. Yeah, and I remember I knocked him out in the second round. Lovely lad. I think it was a fireman, actually. Mm-hmm. Then they put me against a kid called Pat Lawrence, Irish lad. He was over the other side, like the different divs we had. And I remember Jim Evans, he was going, like Jim was a lovely fella, but he goes, when we thought we could beat you, So I said, fair enough. And then up knocking him out in the second round. Then I boxed Navid Anwar, another smashing fella. I stopped him in a couple of rounds, but again, another guy that I talked to quite regularly. It's made this Facebook like, ain't it? It's like the people you don't expect have come on board, and I kept in contact with Nav, and then I had 2 great fights with Nigel Raffey. You probably know Nigel. He's up your way a little bit in the Midlands. I think Midlands area champion he was. There's me. I've had 3 fights, and fight against had 75 fights. Yeah. Back then, the fights were so hard, And then 2 fights, I probably learned more than 2 fights against Nigel, because he knew all the little moves, and you know what I mean.
Both went to points, didn't they? They both went to points.
Yeah. Good fight, very good fight. And I learned more from fighting than I did the knockouts. Then obviously the fight with Chris Henry happened, and then it's still, I don't know if you know, obviously the Southern Area title, knocked him out in the last round, and he went into a coma. And like, thank God, he's come out of that. And this was like 97, this was. And it's just really weird. It was like, how mad's this? I'm driving home last year, about a year ago, and something come up on Facebook, and it was the poster for this Chris Henry fight. And I since that fight, what I did, Steve, I blocked it out of my head. It's really weird what you can do with your mind.
Yeah.
And I was driving back from Leadbridge Road because I work in Hackney, and all of a sudden, suddenly swallowed me bloody chewing gum. This poster come up on Facebook. Do you know, I had to stop, and it really threw me off. It really threw me off. I was in a bit of, I wouldn't say shock, but I thought, bloody hell, 97. That's a life. It was like 20 odd years ago. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like 97. Yeah, it's like it would have been last year, about 23 years ago. And I sat there and I had to phone up. I was with a girl back then called Lindsay. Great, you know, even today we're still good friends. And I had to phone her up. I said, Lindsay, this is, you know, I'm just driving home. It felt like someone chinned me. It really did. I had to pull over. And I had a bit of a moment. I'm not embarrassed to say. I was a little bit like, you know, a bit, bloody hell, like, you know. And she said, you suffer a lot from this post-traumatic syndrome. Because you said, you don't realise, obviously with the boxing, when you put things to the back of your head, and obviously through, look, she ain't silly, she knows what I got involved in later on in life. I've been to see a couple of people, and a couple of doctors said, you do suffer from this post-traumatic syndrome. I really suffer. I get bad nightmares and stuff like that. And, you know, that and my snoring, you ain't going to get much of a good night's sleep with me, I'm afraid. You know what I mean? But, yeah, so like the Chris Henry fight was, that was supposed to be my night, and it really turned out to be a bit of a disaster. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like, and it really did affect my career a little bit. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's about being honest with myself, I should say. You know, I can sit here and tell you a million lies, Steve, but when I sit on my own, I've got to sit on my own. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's when it sort of like comes back. Do you know what I'm saying? So
that was the Southern Area Cruiser title, which you won.
Yeah,
I mean, your next fight was a few months later against Trevor Small. Was it hard getting back? Was it hard getting back into the ring?
Yeah, I mean, can I be honest with you? It's the only fight I've ever had. Again, it's about being honest. If I don't tell you people are going to, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm an hard man. You know what I mean? But it's like, I was scared. First time ever, I was actually scared going to a fight. And I didn't say nothing, you know. And obviously, I'm in the car, me and Lenny, we're in the car. And we go, you know, when in fights, we drive to Elephant and Castle. And I just want to keep driving. Do you know, I could have easily, you know, when people say, like, they go, you know, a couple of people, like, they book in for fights and they don't turn up. I relate to that. If it's, like, for a genuine reason, but it was the fact that, yeah, I was actually scared. And it took me to the second round and Trevor whacked me. Then I went, honestly, I went back and go, yeah, I know what I'm here for. I mean, it all kicks in again, you know. Got a draw there. I mean, I thought we were a bit hard done by, but listen, I'm not going to, I would never thingy Trevor with that. He's a good, tough guy. Then I think after, I can't remember, Constantine Ockery, I think.
That's the one, yeah.
Now, he got a good fighter, he was. He'd give Henry Walton all the problems he could handle. But I remember boxing him, and we had a little game, like, we're going to try and box, do this. Because believe it, I think you know, so I'm not an half bad boxer. I just want to, but even now, I still want to fight everybody. You know what I mean? I was never good at sparring, because getting sparring, I just want to bash everyone up. And it was like, you know, that was my mentality. It was like the old Marvin Hagler thing, seek and destroy. You know, I didn't want to be in there. You know, when people go, well, I thought I'd get in there, do a few rounds. So that's a load of old bollocks, mate, because no one wants to be in there any longer. You're telling me you want to be in, because you only take one shot and it can ruin your night. Do you know what I'm saying? But this Ockery, he was so, first couple of rounds, I'm throwing, he's hitting me over the top of the right hand. I thought, a bit slippy, this geezer, you know, and I'm about the third or fourth round, all of a sudden, I kept touching my face and it was killing me. It was so tender. Anyway, so it got about the seventh, I think it's the sixth round. Lenny went to me, end of the sixth round, coming to some, goes, Dom, you just got to go and bash this geezer. Don't worry about the boxing, just go and bash him up. And I knocked him out. I remember hitting him with a left hook to the body, boom. And as I threw a left hook to the head, I spun round. I went, where's he gone? Of course, he's on the floor. And the funniest thing, if you ever watch on Eurosport, it's a lovely fella, you know, like you do, go, hello, mate, Arthur's, thanks, man. I touched him on the wrist. He went, ooh. I mean, you know, but it turned out I had an ear infection. And all my face swelled up. The next day was out here. And I was in terrible pain, I was, for a couple of days. And that was probably the closest ever I've ever been in a fight where I wanted to come out. You know, I mean, I lost a couple of fights, you know, I got pulled out in one of my fights and whatever. But I'd never wanted to, because I've got to keep going. That's where I'm this Italian, don't go backwards, you know what I mean? So it's but yeah, and that was a tough fight. And then obviously after that, we boxed Bruce Scott, which was that was my, in a way, I wouldn't say my baptism of fire, but it just made me realise I was world class. I mean, because Bruce then after me beat Darren Corbett, who in my book he's such a good champion. He's a great guy, but it was always such. Listen, if we ever fought me and Darren, it would have been fireworks. And in some ways, I'm quite glad I didn't, because I think probably I would have come out with a bit of an headache. You know what I'm saying, Steve? But so and then Bruce beat me. They stopped the fight. I think the 9th round, if I remember, I had a bit of a cut. Oh no, it's this side, cut underneath the eye. But he caught me with a big uppercut. I was stayed into the ropes, and the ref jumped in there, and he went, "Good God, it was a great fight, but he needs to live to fight another day." Because it was me, there's me. I had 6 fights or 7 fights. I'm boxing the guys that I think they had 21 or 7, something like that. We had something like 17 knockouts, and maybe we got off the fight. I'm going to take it. I was never shy about fighting anyone. But then after that, my career went a little bit, I don't know, where can I put it? Just went a bit up and down, it seemed. You
lost your title on that night, and I think you only had one more fight in 1998, which was against Kevin Mitchell.
Yeah, now, Kevin. I hope Kevin. He's turned out to be such a shining angel to me in my life, because I'm not making this. Listen, the first fight that pulled me out, I think the 5th round or 4th round, my eyes were playing up. What it was, dehydrated. I'm up to about. It's the first time I started. Like we hear this story about fighters drinking, starting having a drink. I never used to drink, and I just don't. We went. It's no one's fault. But I split up with a girl I was with then, and I was a bit heartbroken. That's always seems to be my problem. You hit me with a baseball bat, I come back laughing. You break my heart, and I'm right in trouble. You know what I mean? I'm a bit of a fanny like that. But so I started drinking. So when I come back, we had 2 weeks before the fight. I was working away 2 weeks before this fight. I was doing my runs up north and that while I was working. But I come back and I was heavy because I was drinking Guinness. So I had to try and I cheated at the weight, got in a sauna. And that really caused problems. So then we had the rematch with Kevin, and we were quite lucky. To me, it was quite a do or die fight for me. And we were speaking, me and Kevin were speaking. I think that fight, believe it or not, it was one of them fights that I think we both left a little bit behind, you know what I'm saying, in the ring. Like you see these Rocky fights.
Yeah.
I know he wanted to win this title so bad, and I knew if I didn't beat Kevin, my career was over. And it's like I trained so hard, I put myself under so much pressure, and we did have a great fight, and it was on Graham Mountain's promotion. It was at Barking Assembly Hall, and it was brilliant. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a tough fight, and it was, I wouldn't say easy, but it was the only easier, and this ain't no disrespect to Kevin, but I listened to Lenny, one of the first times, and then we had this plan, because he went away and watched Kevin, and we just stuck to this plan. We just outboxed him. Then we had the next fight, I think, was a British title eliminator against Chris Willis. And even in the boxing news then, it said after that fight, I won, I think it was 99, but I won, basically I won every round. The only round I lost was the last round, Steve, because I was hitting on the break, and they took a round. I mean, again, that was probably one of the easiest fights I had. Nothing to do with Chris again, because Chris was great. Because all I'm just saying, because I listened. And then after that, we lost our way a little bit again. I had a few problems outside the ring. I was getting involved with bits and bobs, and and then all of a sudden it took away. Basically, it took took my hunger away. Do you know what I'm saying? So, because all I ever did was train. But obviously, I got involved in a couple of other little bits. I was getting money outside of boxing then, and then it's like
we'll come on to that. We'll finish with the boxing. I mean, the Kevin Mitchell fight, you won the cruiser title again.
Yeah,
you boxed Chris.
I remember boxing Gary. That was a great fight. Gary used his head a little bit. He got underneath my skin. I mean, he was supposed to be the kid on the block. I was the new kid on the block. We had a big press conference, and I always remember at the Castle pub, and he was going. It's like being the toughest kid at school. And I said, look, mate, we're at school now and things like that. And he got the first 2 rounds. I remember Lenny going to me, Dom, he was like ecstatic. He said, Dom, you're going to knock him out, mate. You take me in pieces. The first 2 rounds were easiest I've ever had. And he got into my head a little bit, started winding him up. Come on, Negus. And I'm like, what? And all of a sudden, dropped my hands and he was hitting me. And I'm hitting him on the break. And then I lost 2 rounds. They took a couple of points away from us. And he won the fight through that. I mean, this is again another You know, it's funny. Through boxing, out of that kind of respect, you earn your friendship, don't you? I mean, it's like Gary. I know Gary's had his own problems outside the ring, but he's one guy I really respect. I speak to him occasionally. You know, I know he's not going to go into his life. I know he was on holiday for a while, if you know what I mean. But I mean, it's one of them guys I'd love to go and sit down and have a bit of dinner with. And I mean, we've got a million war stories we could sit there all night talking about with me and Gary. But yeah, and then after, I think I went with Gary. Oh, then I got offered. Obviously, I lost that fight. I can't remember.
You fought a good pal of mine next. You fought Paul Fisk.
I've actually boxed Paul 3 times. And
yeah.
Twice on the unlight, and I like to say, and each time it's always gone in. Because listen, I know with Paul, can't muck about with that geezer. Look at the size; it's the size of a house. But his son actually, again, get back to something else quick. His son's a policeman. Well, he's gone up the ranks. A lovely guy called Ben Fisk, and I work in this hostel in near Stoke Newton. And I said, this big lad walks in one day, and I remember Paul saying to me, he said, Dom, if you're ever down Hackney way, my son's a policeman down there. So this big guy walks into the hostel, and he's a lump. No, I'm the lumper. And I go, hello, mate, you all right? Yeah, come to one CCTV. I said, yeah, go, mate, off you go. And the girl come in, bit like the lady policewoman. I went, all right, gorgeous. Can't call her gorgeous. And I went, all right, mate, stop it, you know what I mean? And I've gone, he's in the other room checking the CCTV. And I've turned around to the girl. I said, why any chance? Where you at? He goes, oh, Stokey. I said, okay. Do you know a guy called Ben Fisk? And she started laughing. And I go, we laughing? He goes, that's him. So I've gone, oh, now this cop don't know me with man. I'm going, oh, yeah, Fisky. I've chinned your old man 3 times. And he turned around and goes, Dom. And do you know what? I Paul's watching this. Be proud of that boy. He's a great, policeman or whatever. He's good at his job. But he's like, what a lovely guy. You know what I mean? If that was mine, I'd be proud of him. Do you know what I'm saying? He was like, does his job courageously. You know what it's like. I mean, whatever way I was going, but like Ben's a great, great fella. And then like again, I think Paul must be a good dad to produce a son like that. But again, yeah, with Paul, I remember, boxing him. That was a York call. And then I remember, did I box for the WBU super middleweight, super cruiserweight?
Eamon Glennon after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was supposed to fight, was it Simon McDougall?
Yeah.
But I remember, because he's been gone a few years now, and it's like, but so something happened with Simon, and then they pulled Eamon in. And he was a tough boy. He was tough, but just boxed him, So that was another good look. They were supposed to be a 6 or 8 rounder, but got cut. It was one of them fights again. I was running out of time, so we cut it down to 4. So I did that, and then I think I boxed Eddie Knight in for the WBU super cruiserweight title. And they brought it in then because I was trying to change the weights. And like Eddie's a tough boy. But I just remember going in, first round was a bit close. And he thought, this geezer's quite snappy, you know what I mean? I thought, okay, I'll be a bit careful. And I could hear Dean Powell going, body, left to the body. So I just touched it, whipped that body shot in, which became a bit of a trademark for us. And as they say, was it Sailor V? No, that was the end of that one, which I thank God it didn't. I mean, I think me and Eddie would have been at it all night otherwise. I can't wait, but then I think
Paul Bonson was your next one, which
is another one of your guys from Featherstone.
Which is another win.
You can hit that geezer with a dumper truck, mate. He keeps coming. But another good guy. I mean, if anybody ever got the sight to see that fight, it was probably one. It was for me because no one really. I could box, and it was like I actually box because I knew I was never going to knock him out. I could hit the go, and even though I am quite a big puncher, I just knew I wasn't going to knock him out. So it was just boxing, and that was nice. And then I think then was it the fateful Audley Harrison fight? I think.
Yeah, I mean, this is a one which, even non-boxing fans will probably remember for all the wrong reasons for you, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Audley Harrison was a big unit. I mean, I remember him. I remember when I worked on the doors in Newcastle. I remember him having a big fight at Newcastle Arena. It was the biggest flop for a main fight ever on Tyneside that I can remember. But I remember I was working at a nightclub door. And when he turned up, Dom, and bearing in mind now I've met both of you, he was a unit, but he couldn't throw a punch to save his life. He couldn't box eggs, is what we would say up in Newcastle. For a big lad, he was a major letdown. But you had quite a controversial fight.
Yeah, I mean, it was like, I can still remember everyone's going, oh, well, yeah, all that. Listen, if you were, I know, you know, obviously there was other stuff around it, you know. I mean, I've got the scales, I was nearly 17 stone, I looked good. Obviously, like, you know, there was a bit of illegal substances involved. Look, I paid the price for that. I locked my hands up. Even in the first book, we did a chapter in it, and I called it cheat. You know, I took a bit of, like, you know, being honest, took steroids, you know, I paid the price for that. And even if I did win the fight, I would have always left a sour taste in my mouth. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I know, but it was one of these fights that I knew if I come in at 15 stone, he would have just blown me out of the water. I was just too small for him. But I just remember being in the fight about the fourth, and I'm getting like, you know, because I'm carrying this extra weight, I was getting tired. Like, you know, I could do a 10 round or me 12 rounds, but fight a guy that big, and I know what you say, like, you know, he is a major letdown, but listen, I'm giving his dues, right? You don't get gold medals for nothing, right? So he could box, you know. And I thought, when we got in the ring, I thought, the first round, I thought, God, he's got such good footwork, very good footwork. And he had tremendous hand speed for a big guy. Because I remember the second round, I've just got to step in with a shot. And my head just went, like, and I'm looking at the ceiling, thinking, what's up there? You know what I mean? But then it was like, in the fourth round, the infamous fourth round, if you watch, I'm getting a bit tired. And as I throw the right hand, you watch, he half pushes me, like he parries the shot, and I'm half like that. Like I've gone, I thought, like, be honest with him, I think, get a little bit of a break here. And you see me, he takes two steps away, because, give me his dues, he wasn't in the wrong though. So everyone said, no, he wasn't in the wrong, because I didn't actually touch my glove on the floor. And then he walks back and goes, right, hits me as hard as he can. Then I've got the ump. You know what I mean? Then I've got the ump. Then it was like the old, you know, and then I jumped out and stuck the old nut on him like you do. And to be honest with you, that's probably the second that shot he hit me within a second, I had a lump on my head and my nose was a bit flat, like, because I remember we went for something to eat the next day, and my friend said, wear these sunglasses. And the sunglasses only fit halfway down because my nose was so swollen. It was like that, it was. But yeah, listen, he beat me on points. Bit gutted, because I now think perhaps if I didn't take, you know, the steroids, I probably would have done a bit better. Do you know what I'm saying? But that was basically the end of my pro career, really, because you know,
if I remember rightly as well, I mean, you like everybody in boxing, you know, win, lose or draw, you always show the respect for your opponent. And it was that rather unsavoury incident where you wanted to go in and see him after the fight, wasn't it?
Well, thanks. I mean, it's like my dad's been gone nearly 18 years now, and Dad was in a wheelchair. Listen, I thought, you know, like, you know, we had battles like Bruce Scott and things like that. I still talk to him now and say, you know, and I took my dad. He's in a wheelchair. He's come up with the cronies from Clacton, and we rolled in, and I said, and Phil Torrance was there, and I knocked on the door. I said, "Oh, Phil, you all right, mate?" I said, "Look, my dad's here to see, like, you know, what's his name? Audley, we're going now." And he went, "He don't want to see you." My brother, I thought, I've got mad, you know, I'll take the fuck off and all this stuff. And I said, come on, Dad, fuck him. Like my dad's going, well, you know, my dad was an Olympic champion, ain't he? It's such a shame, really. I mean, because I don't think, does he care anyway? Do you know what I'm saying? But that's why I always left the bad taste in my mouth. So when we used to do the security, you know, I've been doing the security shows all my life, even though I've come away from the last few years. We were doing, I think it was Audley Harrison against, I think it was the first Danny Williams fight. I think it's one he lost, I can't remember, I don't know, so I walked out one of the fighters and they gone, right, you've got to walk out Audley. I said, I don't fucking think so. You know, I went and sat in the crowd. I said, I'm not walking him out. You know what I mean? It's like me being me. You know what I'm like, Steve. What you see is what you get. But to be honest, that's a shame, really, because that's one of the things, two things I'd always like to do, and I mentioned it before. Two guys I like to sit and have a coffee with was Audley and obviously Chris Emery. You know what I mean? Just to, you know, listen, life goes on, doesn't it? It's like, you know, you look at me like 20 years ago and I'll hold my hands up. Yeah, I was probably not very educated. Not that I'm educated that well now, but I'm a lot better. I think I've been educated through life, you know, and you know, like yourself, it's a hard knocks life. We ain't been given nothing easy. And it's like, you know, I feel some of the time I've been in a bloody bumper car, you know what I mean? Get through like, bum. But, you know, it is a shame with that, the Audley Harrison fight. So, yeah, I'm not really, you know, I've got so much notoriety out of that. It basically, in some ways, blew my cover for the other work I was, I was doing debt collection and stuff like that then, and it really,
Let's go into that. I mean, you got involved in the rather unsavoury side of life, didn't you? I mean, how did that happen?
Door work at 19, so then also, what something you could do the door work, you get other things. Oh, son, anybody can do it. It's all a load of old rubbish, so Steve, And then I said I got involved with a bit of debts and things like that, and it's all like, I basically, ruin things really. Do you know what I'm saying? Because by rights, if I just kept my head down with the boxing, and even with the all areas right, without doing what I did there, I probably would have got what I wanted out of life. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, just because I'm not just, I think you know me well enough. Listen, I was a world-class fighter, but then I didn't have a world-class brain, shall I say. I was too involved with, I got bullied as a kid. When obviously some people started, what they say, there's a thin line between fear and respect. And I think some people are like, not fearing me because people go, no, who's this geezer think he's talking, but, I become, where I got bullied as a kid, I become a bit of a bully because my power in some ways become my weakness. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like, I'd hang about with people I'd only known for 5 minutes, walk some, or they'd take me somewhere, they knew they were going to have problems. I don't know, it's my power, ain't they? They said, what? Boss, bish, bang, bong. And all of a sudden you're in the middle of something. And that's where that's where I got involved in a lot of other things. I seem to be the backup man for a lot of people. Do you know what I'm saying? And then, if we're going to go down that road, then obviously I got my arse smacked a little bit, didn't I? But, I picked on I must have upset the wrong people.
I mean, obviously, I know you're not going to name names, but I mean, the whole situation developed, didn't it? And as you say, I think you were at your gym training and some rather heavy geezers came in.
Yeah, but like this, they weren't auditioning for come dancing, I'll tell you. But that's why I can laugh about it, and I mean this, and I mean this from them three fellas who I've said this time and time again. Don't know who it was, don't care who it was. That's over. Forget that. It's 18 years ago. But them guys made me see the light. That's why we did the second book. One was out of the shadows, and then I was into the light. My wife, she was pregnant with Bella then, and then it was just, I realised then that wasn't a life. I got so lost, Steve. It's like you when you go acting, like you're telling me you've got to get yourself in a role, don't you? You could be sitting doors with your wife and kids that night, and the next day you might be playing some like psycho nutter, and you've got to get in the role. And that's what you seem to be in that kind of world. I mean, I got very, very lost. And even today, I still suffer. I really suffer. I get nightmares and stuff like that. But just our life, it's my fault, no one else's. And it was like, I don't know, I just got lost from my true self. And it took that kick up the arse to make me realise, whoa, hold on, this ain't the life for me. And then it was like really weird. I disappeared for a while and I come back and I went back working on building sites and back doing security. And it was nice to be kind of around a bit of normality. Do you know what I'm saying? It was like, because it's a load of old bollocks. Steve, man, I've got to tell you, it's so false. It's like, when I got my arse kicked, and I did get my arse kicked. Well, I didn't get my arse kicked. I got my caved in, really. I mean, it's ruined my airline. But I mean, it's like I can always remember, like people like go in a bar, and they'd be going, oh, you're all right, Dom, he's a good guy. And then behind my back, because he deserved that, bro, he can't. I was throwing my weight around a little bit. And I become a bit of a bully, where I'd walk into nightclubs, I ain't paying, don't know I am sort of thing. And it was, I become someone I quite despised in the end, Steve, do you know what I mean? And it's, again, we mentioned, my daughter come along and she's made me a better man, totally a better man. And it's funny, I was sitting there today and just something come up, and someone was talking about how I used to, I know it was yesterday, someone was talking about, I see this thing about you, and he said, I wouldn't have liked you back then. And I said, you know what? I wouldn't have liked me back then either. Because I was honest, I was a good guy. I mean, I am a good guy, you know what I'm saying? And I was always one of them people that they say, right is might. I was always for the underdog. Someone's got a problem. Who are you going to call? It ain't the 18, but like, I mean, I'd be Baracus, but Dominic would be around. Because I was always there to, I don't know, just back people up. Because I suppose that's what I always wanted. But I mean, when I had my bit of grief, all the so-called people I'd around me, there was only a couple of people that actually stood by me. And, you know, I said before, and I will say again, you know, I deserved it. I don't know what it was about, but you can't go living the life I was leading and not expect to get a kick up the arse. You know what I'm saying? It was like...
It was a little bit more than that, it has to be said. I mean, they set about you with an axe and you had a gun pointed at your head, Dom.
Yeah, but thank God he weren't a good shot, you know what I mean? Listen, I want to laugh about it. I want to try and put a bit of a thing on it because, you know, but I was in back then. If I'm being, I was quite heavy duty myself. When I used to go to work, it wasn't Queensbury or Wolves. I wouldn't sit there and go, "Hey, put them up," you know what I mean? We'd have a straight nose. You know, we went to work. You did do as you're told, and you know. But then going, it's just, you know, one of the things with me, I was a big believer. If I couldn't take it, then I shouldn't give it. Listen, I took it, took my licks, wiped my mouth, and I just said, you know what, that's me. Not because of that, but also, you know, it proved the point to me. It proved a very good learning curve for me. But then also it was, you know, I said my other half, she was pregnant with Bella. And I just realised that ain't the life to be. I didn't want to be in that life no more. And it made me realise, even now, again, so you know, the amount of phone calls I get, people, can I help? Do you know this? Yeah, of course, I know, you know, like you sort of know loads of people. But do I want to get involved? No, I don't want to get involved anymore. Again, I pay the price. And then, you know, when people go, you can't keep blaming your past on your future. I get that. But sometimes it's easier said to done when they go, well, you've got to let it go. But I can't. It's in there. It's been smashed into me, you know. It's like, it's not as easy as going, well, you can't keep, you know, worrying about your future because of your past. But, you know, the problem, I don't know, it's just hard for me, Steve. That's all, just to let certain things go. But, I mean, it's just not that, just, I don't know, I just want to be left alone, mate. That's all.
I understand that. I understand. Were you scared at that moment? Were you scared?
If I'm being honest with you, when I get in there with the ex, I've got bloody hump. You know, I'm on the floor. I still remember being on the honest. I remember it every day. Every day I remember something. And I remember, you know, they come in, whatever, and I'm on the floor, and I'm thinking, my that was, get up, Dom, you're meant to be hard. Get up, you idiot. And but I didn't realise all this, I thought it was water, but it wasn't all blood pissing out of me, and I got, you know, I was in a bit of a mess. They did half a decent job. I don't say too much, but it wasn't a bad job, you know what I mean? I'll give them a 7 out of 10, but I wouldn't be like, I'm not telling you to come back again, oh, you leave that one. You did your job, and it's cool.
Getting under the door work. I mean, I did it for 18 years. You know, from your perspective, any funny stories about doing the door? Because I mean, you know, we know it's full of violence. We know it's full of people.
I was a young kid working at a certain club, and it was all like funny old haircuts they had. Like, and I remember we'd been working at the Astoria one night. My pal, I wasn't working. I've gone up there, and there's a big melee in the foyer. My mate Johnny Farsand's been bundled by about 5 people. So I've got in there and I've tried to break it. Well, I did my best. My mate John's going, bloody hell. All of a sudden it was getting lighter and lighter. And I used to wear glasses and they've gone flying, and so I'm just getting stuck in. And then and he goes, I can see this fellow in this, I had a rugby top, you know, with like red, yellow squares. And he goes, well, do you see this geezer like whacking these people? And he goes, mate, no, from there, well, this geezer was going, what did you, you like G.I. Joe with glasses, you are? So we went to this, well, I wasn't working, but I'm going to just go to this other club in South London. And I remember there was a bit of trouble inside. And like you do, when you got the night off, but you still think you're on patrol with your mates because all there, you know, you can't. You're telling me you ain't been in a club with your mates and you're having a beer one night. Well, I didn't really drink then. And it's all kicked off and this fella got thrown out. And this fella had this mad Mohican, like big red Mohican. You know, so he's going, he's like, we chucked him out. And he would, you know, when he gets it, will not go away. Yeah, I'm going to come back and go away, mate. No, I'm just standing there. Go away, mate. Go away. And I'm just standing there. I said, he said something to me. I said, suppose you're going to call me G.I. Joe with glasses, ain't you? And part of my French, if I'm allowed to say this, he goes, no, you'll see you next Tuesday. You know, and I went, pardon? And he goes, yeah, I said, I'm look at him. Because as he looks at my mate, I've chinned him. As I've chinned him, his head's hit the wall. I didn't think that my mate goes, you better fuck off. He said, like, so I've gone down here. There's another club we were doing, so I've gone around to see my mate. I said, oh, bloody hell, what's happened? You know, so on the way back, when all the clubs are shut, we've gone back. I knocked on the door, and they're going, what happened? I said, blah, blah. Goes, oh, and there's a big pool of blood outside. They took him away. anyway, then he come back. Thank God he was all right. He got knocked out, but it was all right because it worried me. It did. But I remember, so the two fellas that were working in-house, and one was called Dermot, and I can't remember the other fella's name, but one was like a rugby enthusiast. And he come up to me, goes, and he goes, "There's a corking right hand you through." He's quite posh, and he's pulled this plastic bag out, and because as I've hit him, he's hit the wall, and as he's come away from the wall, he's left a tuft of this red Mohican stuck in this wall, and they kept it for me. And this is like, I mean, if you can think that's funny, I mean, but we had other things. I mean, it was like, I remember we were working at the Forum at Kentish Town, and this ain't invited back. I just remember. Do you remember Baby Bird? You're gorgeous.
Yeah.
I can't remember the geezer's name now. Is it something Jones or
something like that? Yeah.
Quite a nice guy. Listen, but he comes in the forum. I'm all saying, "Well, we're all tough guys." And he goes, "Oh, so, guest list, Baby Bird, blah blah blah." So he comes in. As he walks in, I stopped him. "Hold on, mate." I said, "What?" I said, "I've got to tell you something." Guess what? I was going, "You're gorgeous, dude." And I said, "I loved your song, mate. I loved it. I'm a bit, I love the music." And he was like, we were quite lucky. We were quite lucky that, like, the venues we've done. I mean, there was the team I was working with, a rap man, Oasis, you know what I mean? So when we used to do like Prince Nazim, we did all the security. I was quite lucky. I did some of his a bit of personal security through the company, Top Guard. So we got to meet loads of different. And there's this. You like your boxing, Steve?
Yeah.
He was the night before he fought Paul Ingle. So we met. That was in Manchester. Yeah. So now we get a call. I think it's about 10:30 at night. It's after the weigh-in. Prince wants to go out. So what's after? You think the geezer wants to be asleep again? He wants to go out. Wants to play pool. So I said, okay. So I was quite lucky because. Like Naz, he liked. I'm not quite like. I'm quite. I think everyone likes me, don't they? Everyone likes a village idiot. But anyway, so I'm in the front with him, and he wants to play pool. We're driving in the middle of Piccadilly. So Kev, who was running, he was the main man, Kevin. He's gone into this pool. We go, look, we've got Prince Nazim wants to play pool or snooker, and he goes, "Of course you have, mate." He said, "Yeah, I promise you," but he wants to be left alone. So we got into this pool, and half was snooker and half was pool. And what they did, they segregated. We had the pool side, and we had to stand basically stop anybody coming near. So now the geezer thought we were lying. So we've gone up to this pool, and people are going, "Oh, some Prince walks in, none of he's playing pool." And I'm telling you now, Steve was sitting there within half an hour. There's a bit of a commotion downstairs. What's going on? All of a sudden, Tommy Earns walks in. Right, Tommy Earns walks into this thingy. What's his name? Emmanuel Stewart walks in, and I can't remember. There's about 5 proper, and they're fighting on the same bill. And then you had, what's his name? Out of Happy Monday, Sean Wider turns up with that his girlfriend, and renown or something like that.
Yeah.
The singer. It was the most surreal thing, Emmanuel, and it was the most surreal thing I've ever seen. And they're all playing pool. We're just looking at each other going, "That's just mad." I ain't got Tommy Earns there. You got Emmanuel Stewart, Naz is there. I can't remember. There's another heavyweight turn up, but a proper face. He's like an old heavyweight, George Foreman, because he was there doing the commentary. And I'm like, these are the people, like, these are my heroes. But because I was such a, I was trying to always be professional. So, like, my mate's got a picture with us, and I can't do it, mate. I'm working. I always remember when we were rap man Costa the Zoo, when he came over to fight Ricky Hatton, we were with him for 3 weeks. Susie got in there to the day he turned up to the day he left, we were with him. And we got Rap Randy's management team. There was a fella there called Ronnie Nash, still friends with Ronnie, and Carrie, his wife. If you're listening, love you to death. Keep promising to go to Australia, but I haven't done that yet. But we were Rap Randy's team. Obviously, he goes to the fight, and who turns up? Bloody Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe, gladiator. So we all had this picture done with me. It was amazing. It was like, and we were quite lucky, really. It was like, some of the fights. I mean, I've always loved the boxing, but I said, so after that fight, obviously, like, Ricky won, which was brilliant, and we were in this. I can't remember what was it, but it was near. Bloody hell, the Reebok Centre. Where's that up north? Somewhere. Where's the Reebok Centre? Yes, Bolton. We were right near there. And that's where Costa the Zoo had this like country club. We had the whole floor. So the day after the fight, we were sitting there. Listen, we always rooted for Ricky. Ricky, I'm not saying he's my best pal. But I'm telling you, he did the forward to the book for me. Like, he's a great, great fella. I think he's a great ambassador for the sport. Don't care what people say, but he's a true fighter, just good and bad. You know what I'm saying? He's one of us, you know. You know, so we're sitting there on a Sunday and everyone's a bit despondent because you can't help. We've been with this fella for 3 weeks. Oh, my God, of course we wanted Ricky to win, but you are sort of like tending to go with Costa, you know what I mean? Because you've been around it. You see we've got his family with him and things like that, and they're treating us really well. You know, so after the fight, we're sitting there, and his car pulls up. There's Ricky gets out, Matt gets out, his dad gets out. I can't remember, there's about 5. I don't think Billy was there. But I just remember they all come in and they shut the down because we were upstairs. They shut the downstairs and they went, right, all of us at the bar, including all the security team. And we sat down there, such a lot. You know, you've got Ricky and if you ever see my first book, there's pictures of like us there. And there's a security team there with Ricky and Costa. And they both had black eyes. They looked like they'd been through the mill. But that was, you know, what an experience. You know, these are people, you look at them, they're like, legends, ain't they? These are people I could only wish they could have been half as good as, you know. And they're sitting there, we're having a laugh and a joke, and it's nice now still that I can. I'm not saying because whatever, but I like to think I'm half respected. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, when I had my little fighters, we go up to Ricky Hatton's gym for a week, up to Hyde. They were sparring up there, and he had that kind of respect, you know. And then we, you know, like we used to go to Amir Khan's academy, you know, Joe Gallagher. We were up there. That was brilliant. I mean, it's like, again, I think it's just that kind of respect that, listen, you know, I might have fucked up a few things, but I wasn't a bad person as such. You know what I'm saying, Steve? I don't know, it's just that kind of lifestyle you get pulled into. Did you look after Claudia Schiffer at some point as well? Yeah. That was about the same time I got my friend actually dug up the photo. I can't get it sent because it's on his phone. But that was about... Well, because it's all after the Aldi Everton fight, because it was the Nutter, or was it? Yeah, no, it was before that. Because when it all came, it was the Nutter that nutted orderly, like Claudia. I mean, I only did a few days. We come over. She was doing something up at Earls Court. I think she had the Citroen contract then. What a lovely lady, though. What a lovely lady. I mean, again, we've been quite. I mean, I ain't gonna name drop loads of them, but I've been, you know, I was quite lucky because I always seemed to be the man behind the man. Do you know what I'm saying? It was. And that's what I mean, I remember Bernard Hopkins come over to fight, or didn't come over, do the press thing for Joe Galzaghi. And even his press people knew, oh, you're so you box out, you know. I said, yeah, that's it. And give me his dues when he went, he gave me an $100 tip. And I said, what I should have done was get my sign it. But I can still remember, I went down when, you know, they changed the money. And there's me and my old woman, let's eat this Indian man up. We go, cheers, Bernie. Thank this Indians, and we'll make this Indian takeaway. Like, but yeah, this Bernard Hopkins, give us this tip. I mean, with the boxing, and I was lucky enough, you know, I was around all the top fighters back then, you know, and it's great. I mean, listen, you love your boxing, so, you know, I was very lucky. Even when I spoke to him the other day, it was old Scott Welch. And I even said to him, mate, I'm telling you, he puts out, because something came out about Tommy, and did you see, I don't know if you see the other day, he put up on Facebook about when he boxed James Oyebola at Brighton, and that's when he beat for the British and Commonwealth title. When I was sparring with him then, I was still an amateur. I think it must have been about 96, wasn't it, I think, when he boxed Oyebola? Yeah. Because it's just before I turned over. And I remember I sparred with him, and he taught me the difference between amateurs and pros, and the pros are a lot more, you know what I mean? And it was like, and I don't really like that. I mean, I had some tough fights in the amateurs. But one thing he taught me with the boxing is when you're in there, it's business. There ain't no friends. You're doing a job. And then and that's why you either got it or ain't. But I always had that spiteful streak, even when I used to spar. I've got that from Scott. But what I loved about Scott, he taught me so much about life as well, though, not just about boxing, about life. And I said it to him the other day, I just texted, I said, you don't realise, don't worry about the boxing, you taught me a lot about life. And they're the things I always remember now, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, they were good people, and it's like if I go to a show, I remember last or the other year, I was doing a handing up to someone, and Scott was there, and it's just so, you know, like you ain't seen like a brother for 10 years. Oh my God. And he's always so low to you. You know, he's always got time for you. And I think they're the true champions in this sport, ain't they, you know?
Give us an idea of what it was like to go into the unlicensed, mate. I mean, I promoted the unlicensed for 9 years, and you know, we met a few times on the unlicensed circuit. What was it like for you going into that? Did you find it easier?
Yeah. I mean, listen, and I'll be honest with you. I mean, I know we had a great fight with Crispy Bacon. I mean, and I'm being honest here, the only time I've ever lost, I lost to myself, you know, because you know, in the unlicensed, it was like you could cut corners a little bit. You know what I mean? You knew, I mean, and you know what, it's like I was fighting a lot of big lads from up north, you know, and then, you know, don't get me wrong, they're tough boys, but a lot of them like to, you know, and believe it or not, when I should have perhaps been on the gear, I wasn't. And it's them boys who come there, you know, and you get big lads and they're like, you know, I've got to be careful what I say because I don't upset my northern fans if I've got any up there. But they were quite, you know, they're into bodybuilding, ain't they? They're into being strong. And then my skill could basically get me. Again, I was very underrated with my boxing ability. You know, again, I think I had about 37 fights. I lost a couple. I lost to Chris, Carl Barwise a lot. And I think I lost to Danny Williams. You know what I mean? That was one of the last best fights, yeah, but that's another story. But, you know, and then the other fight, I think I had about 30-something first round knockouts. Because you're getting in, you know, you can't beat that left hook to the body. Touch, whip it in. We know. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, Steve, if you know what you're doing in now, you can control the fight, even on a bad day, you know what I'm saying? But it's, again, I remember boxing Paul Fisk a couple of times on there. And I think, again, it's where friendships have been made, you know, and they're friendships for life. Which, I mean, obviously, you know, saying about down license, you know, obviously weren't as physically hard or like you didn't, you know, you could have a bad day in the gym or you didn't have to do that run, you know, but that's always worried me because when I was pro, it was like I had to do this, had to do that. And obviously when I went on the license again, it was easier. But then again, you know, there was a couple of boys, like Chris Bacon, he was a great fighter, another good pal, you know, but he's one of them guys that, even though I hadn't spoke to him for a while, but I know if I was in trouble and I called him, I know he'd be there. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like very, very few and far between the people in I think this whole world that you can call on. But I think it's just one of them sports that you know you get the respect from your fellow fighter kind of thing, win, lose or draw. You know, as you said, like we're getting into here, you know, we're getting in there and we're doing our stuff. But Steve, you weren't a bad fighter, though, if I remember rightly, or
I've got. Listen, for me, I was more of a promoter. I remember getting sparring at Glenn McCrory's gym. I think I got a right hand. I flushed down the middle in the first round, and I thought this isn't for me. Like it's more about promoting than boxing for me.
Go acting. No, but listen, I mean, listen. You look at my face. I've got a face made for radio. I've got a face only a mother can love. When I was a baby, I'd go down the road, and that's a lovely pram you got there. So.
I'm going to ask you, where did the nickname the Milky Bar Kid come from?
Listen, when I was working like years ago, I used to work with a bunch of guys driving lorries, and I said Milky White Legs. I mean, I'm the only person that hates England. I don't mean like that, but I want to go and live in Italy, but I can't stand the sun. So I'd just sit in a corner all the time. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like really weird, but you know, no, it was. I don't know, that's how I got the name because I'm a Milky White. I know because I used to wear glasses back in the day. You know, then I had laser treatment back in 96. I had that, so I could turn pro. So I mean, even back then, but that's why I got the name, the Milky Bar Kid. So
I remember watching a documentary as well. You were the focus of a documentary on BBC Two. I think it was for the Underground Britain series. Do you remember when you were debt collecting? What did you make of that when it came out?
Well, I cringe a little bit because I know now how much I've evolved. You know what I mean? Got wide up. And I had a friend of me said to me on Saturday, goes, I've just seen this documentary. I wouldn't have liked you back then. And I said, well, I didn't like me back then either. You know what I mean? I was just so lost. Do you know what I'm saying, Steve? I was living, in my eyes, living a lie. And even my daughter, when my daughter watched it, she goes, Dad, I didn't really like it. I said, look, the amount of people I've had to say sorry to, you know, not because just life changes. I had to learn the hard way, Stephen. And I know, man, as you see me, I'm not swearing on the Bible, but I think you know me. I've learned the hard way. You know, I ain't that person anymore. You know, that's 18 years ago. Give me a break. I think I deserve a green card now, don't I? Somewhere along the line.
100%, mate. You turned your life around for the better. You know, you basically sat down and you put your life story out there. I mean, you mentioned them already, but we'll give them a plug, and I'll stick the links in the description box. But your books, Out of the Shadows and Into the Light. I mean, 2 cracking reads. And what was it like putting those stories together?
It was quite hard. I mean, listen, we're looking to do the 3rd book and 3rd and 4th book. People are going, what do you mean? But the 4th book or the next book, what Jamie wants to do, is going to be more like life now, how hard it is. Probably going to point a little bit on everyone's onto the mental health side of things now. Not trying to get on a bandwagon, but there you want to get, you want to walk back my head for a couple of days. It ain't good. What I'm saying? But this other book, we're going to call it, and I said to him, it's a self-seller, and it's going to be called What About Me? And it's going to be stories from other people about my life. I've got a list of about 100 people that I said, Jamie, just phone these people up. They'll tell you all the stories you want to hear. And they're all, there's funny stories, bad stories, good stories that make you cry. But in it be, that's a self-seller. Because I know people that probably buy 50 books now and they put their own stories in it. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's, what I liked about Jamie, he come around my house and he stayed with me for about a week. And he just said, look, I'm not what people think. I mean, that documentary, even the Danny Dyer's thing, I'm not doing it justice, but people don't know me. So you probably know me better, Steve, than most people do.
Yeah.
Because I don't, that documentary we did there, that's 18 years ago. Forget that person. That's a Neanderthal. Because I was going, give me a break, guys. Come on, I learnt the hard way. What do you mean? I see this documentary. I said, see the documentary? Yeah, mate, I've got a fractured skull and 70 stitches. I paid the price. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, leave me alone now. I truly believe, listen, I wouldn't say I've changed, but I've evolved, got older, got wiser. And it's like yourself. You put me in a corner, I'm going to come out one way, ain't I? I'm coming out fighting. And that's all I know. Like, my best form of defence is attack. But, I've got no reason to be that person anymore. As long as you leave me alone, you leave my daughter alone. Don't go near my daughter. And then you'll never, that person, but sometimes I feel like a bit like a volcano. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, underneath, it's like, I can feel it sometimes, not every day's a good day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And but then it's, I still, people ring me up nowadays, I've got some work for you for it. No, I'm not interested. And it's silly money. No, it's not about money now. Do you know what I want? I just want to be happy, mate. And if we've been honest with you, since I split up with the old woman, been a while now, there's always been that emptiness there. I said it before, I said it on Jamie, everybody that's sitting going, there's this empty hole. And it's, I don't know, will it ever get filled? I don't know, that's hard. See, when I'm with Bella, I'm happy. That's the happiest you'll see when I'm on my own. It's like me waiting to do this tonight. I'm sitting there, my nuts going, thinking about things I'm thinking, what am I thinking about that for? Things that are what they say about an overthinker? It's like, I can't do nothing. And there's nothing I can do about that. Like, leave me alone. It was like I was sitting in a cafe today, or eating breakfast, and a couple of fellas walked in, just sat there, and I'm going, I don't like them, so. But I just think, but you ain't done nothing wrong. But that's that old mentality, do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's still there. So, what they say about your gut ways. Not that, I was saying about my mate Mickey Theo. He was with me, and he's obviously had he's got, kind of this fight going on with John Fury, and everywhere we go, if people don't recognise me, they recognise him. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, but you think sometimes, what's he looking at me for? What's that about? Well, you know what I mean? But then again, it's, you got, I'm a big guy. They were big, big guys look at big guys, don't they? Because, it's like you go somewhere, you're always trying to suss things out. And it's like, it's me being paranoid. Well, I hope it is. So, if you don't do it first.
You've knocked the drink on the head, Dom, as well. You've been off it for a year, did you say?
Nearly a year clean. If you want, Christmas Day last year, I had my last drink, and just something happened. And I'll tell you again, it's like being honest. Because you sit there, I said to someone the other day, I can lie to you all day long. But when I'm sitting indoors on my own, I can't lie to myself. Well, I don't. And what it was, Christmas Day, I'm indoors on my own. Weren't expecting fellas at her mum's, things like that. I've had half a bottle of whiskey because I'm sitting indoors watching the telly. I've made a fight like this, Christmas Day fight. About 5 o'clock, son, where I live, you've got to come through gates. The buzzers rang. Who's that? And of course, it's my daughter. Oh, me and Mummy have bought you some dinner. Of course, I'm half cut. And it's like, then the next fella didn't say that. They went, and they went. And he asked to phone Nick up the next day. I said, oh, thanks, Nick. He goes, you want to, it was discussing how you were. I said, what do you mean? Then I've gone into one. I go, but you weren't supposed to come round yesterday. It's my day. It's like, I finished work. Just want to leave me alone, relax on me. And you turned up. I never told you to turn up. Because if you turned up, I wouldn't have had a drink. But then that just made me realise, you know what? I'd rather not have anything now. And I thought, even though it's like, I get some terrible headaches sometimes, but it's like I sat there and it's like, you know what? I feel a lot better. I can control my feelings a little bit more. But it's I mean, even like when you talk about drugs, people go, well, you do drugs. I said, well, I haven't done drugs for years. Probably about 3 years ago, I had my last, if we're being honest, and it's like how honest you want us to be, with my last little toot, was about 3 years ago, and I didn't even like it then. I was never a big drug kind of guy. It was more, I'd have a drink, and then with me, I could go into certain bars. I mean, this Blue Mondays, I used to love Blue Mondays. And he's a friend of ours, Murphy, Spencer Murphy owned it. I put him through some shit I did, poor fucker. But this bar, I'd walk in there, knew straight away, if I had jam, I'd have a pint of Guinness and a double scotch. And if you knew I had that, just pull the shutter down, mate, something's going off. Or I could walk in and have a glass of red wine. Red wine, if the ladies are listening, the red wine, I'm either going to get the ump or it's like Viagra to me, Don't look at me like that, Steve. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not cheap, I need more than a glass of wine. No, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, but then I just realised, you know what? I'm better off without it. And it's like I said, we got a friend of ours, if I'm allowed to say this, he's got COVID. We didn't realise he's really bad. His son's phoned us up the other day and they've had to induce him into a coma. Yeah. Christmas is coming, everything's a bit tight. So we're trying to do, his name's Marky Wilson, good guy, like one of the team down the gym. And we just said, look, we can't do nothing now till February, but I'll fight in February. I'll do a charity fight. And every ticket I sell, I'll put a tenner in the pot for him. It won't be fortunes, but hopefully we'll nick him a few grand between all of us. So that gets me back in the gym a little bit. Listen, I'm not going to be bloody, I'm not going to do a 10 round. I'll do 3 twos. I mean, if someone, we got some people, in line, but it's like people go, why are you fighting? I said, listen, I'm 51 years old. I'm not saying, don't get me wrong. I don't trust anybody. I'm going there to do the business, but I'm not going to be fighting some young 21-year-old that's had like 10 fights, 9, not, because on the unlicensed, there's some good boys coming through, Yeah. You must see it up your way. I mean, it's like, I think the quality of the unlicensed has changed a lot now. It's getting, what I used to use the unlicensed for, when I had that boy Jones Jr., I had that Santi Sahota, Liam Dillon, but he changed other people. And even, there's a good kid out there now. He's just trying to fight Bradley Skeet, that Hamza Shiraz. Don't know if you've heard of him. He's a kid. He's fighting at the Copper Box. He's fighting Bradley Skeet. And that's probably going to, I'll get some tickets, but that's probably the first pro show I've been to in years.
He debuted on my show. I think I did one with Joe Pyle Jr. a couple of years ago. And he's some talent, Shiraz. Really is.
Big, tall kid, can bang, can really hit. But once he's like, but I'm going to go, but these guys, we use that as a stepping stone to the pros. You know what I'm saying? It's like with the amateurs. When I say you're semi-pro, we're talking there about bullshit each other. You're either pro or you're amateur. The unlicensed is a different thing altogether. So, I don't know. It's different if you say you're promoting semi-pro. I'm not saying anything bad, but all I like when they say to me, listen, I won the world heavyweight title, but you don't get me going, I'm up there with something, so I'll just keep down the low. That belt's in the cupboard somewhere, I think, with my underpants on. But it's like, what I'm saying? Listen, I'm not going to be sitting there. Like, I won every title I've ever fought for on the unlicensed. I think I won about 6 or 7 different belts. But then belts, I walked up next to my trouser belt, and my black karate belt, or my brown or whatever. But it's like, but we used it with the lads coming through before they went pro to see what it's like without the vests on, in front of a crowd with the proper gloves on. And it did. It's like, we put our own shows on there. We've got some good people down there going. We've got that Jack Shepherd. He does a lot of stuff at York. We've got obviously we got Sparta with Ian Wilson. They put some good little shows. And then obviously we worked a lot with Alan Mortlock with the IPA. There's him and I'm just trying to think. Vic Smith, they do a lot. Vic's gone more into the pro side now. I mean, it's great. I mean, we were quite fortunate down there, and we were quite lucky. I mean, I think it was Reece Street. I don't know if you know. Do you know Reece from up your way?
Yeah.
He used to bring his fighters down, very reliable. And there's a kid out there now called Isaac Gibbs. I think they called him the Gypsy Kid. He's had like 300 fights. He boxed the other night. He's boxing tonight. He come down, boxed our lad once. But I mean, I see him all the time. He's gone up to heavyweight now. Isaac, keep your phone. I might be calling you in February. You know what I mean? But no, take it easy on the old man. No, it's just like, so with the boxing, again, it's like you go and, I also have a lad out there, Robin Deakin. He's a good guy. He was strong. And John Spencer, I think John Spencer has just gone pro. But they're tough boys, you know what I mean? And I don't care who they fight. They don't get anything bloody hell. You know, but it's like, you know, again, you know, except with this February thing, I mean, I always fancied fighting, was it Lee Foch? No, Cole's brother. I think he's in around John Ashton up at Birmingham. I think that way, is it that way kind of thing?
Yeah, that's right.
I always fancied that, but never come. I'm not like, listen, John, Lee's a good fighter, very underrated. But I thought, listen, you know, don't sound like a divvy. You put my name on a post, it sells a show out, doesn't it? You know, because you always know with me, you're going to get what you see is what you get. I'm coming at guns blazing. But like also, like, I still can sell a ticket. So I think there's still a few people out there want to see me get beaten up.
Well, listen, Dom, it's been an absolute pleasure. The clock has beaten us. You've got your new book coming out. We're going to keep an eye out for your fight. Well, do me the honour of letting me know when this fight is, so I can give it a bit of a push. And I'd love to come down and give you some support and help you raise some money.
But thank you so much. I've always rated you, mate. I mean that. I've always rated you. All
Top
right,
man.
just keep safe, mate. Love you, mate. Take care.
Yeah, listen, take care and look forward to seeing you soon, mate. God bless you.
Love you, mate. Thank you. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye, mate.